Right, welcome along to another video, guys. You've probably seen the last couple of videos where we took the car to the track and we had loads of suspension problems. We even did that track day T-side where we tried the pikey struts. They were worth a punt, weren't they, at the end of the day?
It was a try.
Because they were cheap, they came up and it was like, sod it, we want to get to a track day, so we'll give them a go. This video, this is where it starts to get good, I think. Hopefully. Obviously Spencer's with us today. We're back in the garage and we're going to be doing some work on the car this time. So after all the problems we've been having, it's all basically down to worn suspension, worn bushes, worn problems with the brake not being very balanced at the rear, and we're hopefully going to fix all of that today. Well, not today, but like in the up and coming videos.
Who says Christmas doesn't come but once a year? Woo! Some sexy, silky, smooth gas struts.
So first little one is we had to get new suspension. We absolutely had to get it. The TA Technics coilovers were just nothing but problems for her.
These look proper beefy, these, man.
Yeah, so
Seriously.
Does he-
Go and get one of them, the original, what was on the car. That was what was on the car when we got it. And as you can see, there's some serious difference. Gas golds look like they could be on a truck.
So as you can see, we went for gas golds. It's one of them go hard or go home kind of things. The suspension pretty much had to be custom because of the fact that it's a converted car meant that there's extra weight on the front axle. So even a Lupo GTI kit just wouldn't have cut the mustard. So in the end, did a bit of digging and we got these from Derek at Absolutely Shocks. He did an absolutely cracking deal. The Gaz factory had some Lupo shocks on the shelf, so we got them at a pretty discounted rate. We went for £350 front springs and 500 rears. 350 just to cope with the front engine a little bit better, and the 500 rears, as Spencer's now destroying them. The 500 rears will hopefully give her that nice, really tight back end, which will mean that cornering is brilliant. And then obviously to put all this together, we're not only going to do the suspension, but we're also going to be changing out the rear axle, as I mentioned before in other videos. So we'll be pulling the Lupo axle off and we'll be putting the Lupo GTI axle back on. At the same time as doing that, we're going to redo all the brake lines. So we've got clips for that, brake pipe fittings for the actual calipers, some stainless braided PTFE lines so we can make new lines, and a new T-piece for the rear. The way the brakes are going to be going forward, the front brakes are going to come directly off the master cylinder, and then the rear brakes are going to come straight off the master cylinder again, but instead of going under the car, it's going to go through the car and it's going to go through a Willwood bias valve, which I probably should have had out to show you. I don't know where it is. It's buried somewhere in this freaking mess. It'll go through a bias valve which we can control in the car, straight underneath the car to a T-piece, and then one line out to each of the rear disc brakes, so we can control the bias to the rear, hopefully control the brakes a bit better so we can sort of get involved with trail braking and all sorts of stuff. So that's all the parts. Now we just need to dig into the car. So job for today is wheels off, rear axle off, all the brake lines out, suspension off front and back. I'm going to take the passenger seat out and I'm going to hack the centre console out a little bit so that we can fit the bias valve. We don't need a centre console anyway, it's not a friggin' road car. Once that's done, we can maybe look at running brake lines. Don't know if we'll get that far today, mind. But we'll see. Stay tuned. So that's the centre console out. I just cut it with a hacksaw because I'm a roughers. But we don't need that anyway, so I wasn't bothered about keeping it. Whilst I've been doing that, Spencer's been taking the rear suspension off, which weren't really in too bad condition, to be honest. These are 2014 shocks, so focus. Oh, don't focus. Springs a bit rusty, as to be expected. I think it's time for a brew. Is it not coming off, like? It's been stubborn.
What?
Is it not coming off?
I haven't even tried it yet.
You're going for heat straight away?
I'm going for heat straight away. Go harder, go home.
Oh,
So like this.
that's what I said.
More rust than the dying bridge, lads.
Wouldn't have thought so. Time to take the axle out now. Oh, you can see how cold it is on my breath.
Yes, I'm waiting, come on.
It's freezing here. Time to take the axle out now. We're either going to look like absolute chumps here because it's going to fall down and destroy something, or we'll look like professionals. And remember, we're not professionals. We're just nuggets with a camera. So.
And this seat has not been took out and put back in. So as you see, it is how it goes.
This is it. I mean, this has never been off the car since Franz or some other German bloke put it on many years ago. So, right, let's do it. To be fair, happy with that.
Oh, yeah, when you put these on it. Jeez.
And I did it from underneath in an awkward position.
Oh. Yes. Yeah. I was on the ramp, wasn't it?
It's on the four poster. Them balls feel tight, huh?
Nah.
Oh, class, get them whipped, dude.
Back the top out. Point that we're doing there straight away, like, get off there. Woo!
So these are the Franken Struts that I got off eBay really cheap. And they consist of a gas shock absorber inside, and then I have no idea what poundage rating this spring is, but it's firm, I know that. So give them a whirl. If they didn't work, move over, put the big stuff on. Right, so at the minute we're running this, which is a Ford Focus TDI brake master cylinder. We're using it because it's 23, I think 24 mil, and that it's the same part that comes on an Ibiza Cupra. But yeah, so we're using that there, and we'll have to use it with a 3 mil spacer just so it operates the brakes correctly. Now these brake lines, they come over the back of the engine bay and they come down to this little bank of unions here, and this splits So like the front left is connected to the rear right, and the front right is connected to the rear left, so that if any of these brake lines fail, then the car can still safely come to a stop. And that's great for the road, but it's crap for us on performance. So we're going to split the front and the rear, so we'll be getting rid of all of that, and then we'll run fresh brake lines. So let's get that chopped out now. Happy days!
Well, you've been dropping the torch, that's what you've been doing.
You talk. You talk, take the pressure off me!
So Mush is trying to get these lines off in one so you can recopy the shape.
Woo!
Loves dropping that torch.
Is that one out? It was idea, was it, to take it out in one bit? Is that one? Don't need that one. Finally, the brake lines that go to the back.
Corded.
That one is. Right, now just got to go in under the car, pull the rear ones out, and then pull them out of the actual front wheel wells themselves as well. It's superb! That was stuck now. Whose idea was this? Whoa man, be careful, we're going to reuse them.
Oh. Bloody one and I can't get to. There we go. Happy days.
Right, I think we'll end this one here. You seen we take all the axle and the suspension and the brake lines and all that off the car. So this video is a bit of a strip down. The next one will be a bit of a build video hopefully, so it'll be a bit more interesting. We've got brake lines to make, we've got new suspension to fit, we're waiting on the top mounts to come. We've got rear axle bushes to fit into a new painted rear axle and blah 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 blah. Thanks for watching. I think it's time for a brew, isn't it?
Definitely.
Time for a brew. See you next time. What was that? You weren't even on the shot there. Your head was.
Oh, right.